everybody, and welcome to our Bachelorette Live. We are here to talk all about Michelle's hometowns with the remaining 4 suitors. Now we're down to 3, and we're going to leave our predictions for the men tell all and the rest of the season. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, joined by the lovely and talented Gianna Gravalisi, and of course, the fabulous Mariah Davis. Gianna, how are you doing today? Are you gearing up for the holiday season?
Oh yeah, I was Christmas shopping in between shifts today, so gearing up for the holiday season. I'm honestly looking forward to Michelle's season ending, honestly, not only because this season has not been my favorite, it's been a little on the boring side, but I just need time to focus on the holidays and New Year's and then get mentally prepared for Clayton season. So I'm just like, can it just end already? I need to just clear my mind.
I get it, but it can't end without a dramatic tell all and hopefully a proposal. I mean, that could be some really exciting Bachelor Nation news to take us into the holidays. But I'm glad that you're doing well, Gianna. I know it's a stressful time of year. Mariah, how are you doing? How are you feeling about the end of Michelle's season?
I am so with Gianna. I'm ready for it to be over. I love Michelle, and I mean, I'm glad for her sake that she hasn't had a bunch of ups and downs throughout her season. But for us as an audience, we want to see a little bit more drama, like just more to keep us on the edge of our seat. So I am ready for it to be over. I do hope that it ends, has a happy ending, but I'm ready for that tell all because the tell all is always like my most highly
So good.
anticipated part of the season. So I'm ready for that and obviously ready for Clayton's season. So
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit of a different season, I think we could say, but I have been telling everyone if you have not been watching this season, now is the time to start. We just had hometowns, we have a men tell all, and after the final rose, hopefully a proposal. They're headed to Mexico next week with the final 3 guys, so it is the time to get excited and invested in Michelle's season because big things usually happen towards the end, and people get heartbroken and people fall in love, and I'm just excited to see the story play out because I just want to know what happens at this point. So we got to get into it, but before we do, I want to remind everyone, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Give this video a big thumbs up. You can't give it a dislike because YouTube removed the dislike, so just give us 2 likes instead, and ring the bell so you're notified whenever we post. Because we got Bachelor Nation tea, we got all celebrity tea all year round, and we're going to be taking you guys all the way to the holidays, all the way to the new year. So we have to get into it, and we have to get into the dates. And I want to start with Rodney. I figured we'd get this kind of over with, even though he didn't go first, because Rodney, he decided to take Michelle apple picking. Rodney was the guy who showed up night 1 as an apple, and he also took notes from Michelle's poem when she famously mentioned that no one ever took her apple picking as a young girl. Well, Rodney did that. He took her on a very romantic date, and Rodney has been one of the favorites this season. A lot of people have loved his energy. Gianna, what did you think of Rodney and Michelle's one-on-one date, apple picking?
I thought it was so authentic and wholesome. And it just made me sad because, I knew in my brain that he was going to eventually end up going home. But just the way that he looked at her. And I also want to take note of the bloopers. Like while the credits were rolling, when they were doing the,
Uh,
welcome to our cooking show with their apples, it was just hysterical. So I just love the fact that he really listened to what she was saying in her poem and did the apple orchard thing because she said that. Like that's the only reason he said it. And it's just ironic to me that he did show up as an apple the first day. So there's just so many talks of apple and symbolism. Like I'm wondering, is there like a psychic or something? Is there a spiritual meaning behind an apple for these two? I don't know, but it was hilarious. But I thought the date was so cute, but it made me sad watching because I was like, he's getting heartbroken. So I just felt so bad the whole time, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good point, Gianna. He came as an apple and he left as an apple. I mean, Rodney's apples. He needs to open up his own apple orchid and just make it a thing. Capitalize off of this because he truly is the apple of Michelle's eye. Well, maybe not because he did end up getting sent home. But we did get to meet his family, and Rodney's mom was super concerned that Michelle was going to break his heart. And a mother's intuition never lies because that's exactly what Michelle did. However, Michelle felt so bad about sending him home that she took to Instagram to write and pay tribute to Rodney, a person who walked into my life, who will ever be a part of my life. Rodney, so happy we met. You mean the world to me. Not a goodbye, but I'll see you soon. Mariah, what did you think of the mother's intuition? Do you think she knew that Rodney would ultimately not be the one for Michelle? And are you sad to see him go?
I was sad to see him go, but again, like I so often agree with you, Gianna. I agree with you again. Like I just always knew that he was not going to be the one for her. I don't know what it is, but it is like for some reason, most women, especially we get to see it play out on The Bachelorette, when you have all of these great guys, the one that is the most thoughtful and sweet and kind and gentle and literally pays attention to every detail and like distributes everything that you need, they always send them home. And I don't know if that's what told me like, oh yeah, he's not going to make it. He's way too nice. Because all of the guys on the show that were remaining are really nice guys. Some I like more than others, but I definitely think watching them, like, yeah, they connected and you could tell she really, I think, has a love for him, because how could you not have a love for someone that is so thoughtful and considerate? And she has that appreciation for him, but I just felt like that's as far as it went. And there was no deep connection. Like you couldn't see her have like passion for him, and that is such a big key. Like if you don't have a passion for somebody, but it's also heartbreaking. It was so heartbreaking to watch unfold, because he had said that he feels like an underdog and then he got sent home, and something tells me that he is always, or he has experienced more times than not, being turned down by women who just don't want to go that extra mile with him. And maybe his mom is, she's been his shoulder to cry on because they're so close, so she just had this fear that it was going to happen again, and it unfortunately did. But you know what? He is going to paradise. I don't care what anyone says. I think he's going to paradise, and he's going to find love on there, like for real, because I think he is going to be someone that we see on the first episode of all the new women, and they're like, I want to meet Rodney. So I think good things are coming his way. I'm so sad it didn't work out for him, but I think she handled it with grace.
Yeah, and she is going to miss him. As I mentioned, she put up her Instagram story tribute, which was really nice of her. They had a deep bond, but at the end of the day, he just didn't compare to the other three guys who she's clearly falling in love with. So I wasn't surprised he was going. I definitely saw it coming, and it was sad, and he is a good guy. And I'm kind of disappointed because we all know by now that Clayton is announced as the next Bachelor, and in Clayton's Bachelor promo, whatever, it says everyone loves an underdog, and that was Rodney's thing. And you see Clayton with a bunch of dogs being the underdog. I'm like, no, Rodney was the underdog. Gianna, do you think Rodney was robbed as the Bachelor, or do you think that he's just better off going to paradise?
Yeah, I totally think that he was robbed, honestly, because like he is so, like I said before, genuine, but in a sense that makes me relieved that he wasn't the Bachelor, because as we know, the women there get very catty, they're very dramatic, they all just like want to win at the end of the day. So I wouldn't want Rodney to go through that and then like end up like getting engaged and then having a failed relationship. Like I'd rather him go to paradise, find somebody, and then build a relationship outside of that Bachelor Nation bubble. I think I have better hopes for him on Paradise, and I can't wait to see him because he will definitely be there.
See, I have a hot take. I don't think he'll be there. I really just don't think that reality TV is his thing, and I think Paradise is very drama and juicy, and I don't even know how he ended up on the show to begin with. Yes, we all like fell in love with him, but Rodney just doesn't seem like reality TV to me. I don't know. I just don't know if I can see him on Paradise, no matter how likable he is. And sometimes there's these awesome guys like Ben Smith, for example, from Tayshia's season, who like everyone falls in love with, and then they just kind of disappear from the Bachelor world. And I just don't think that Rodney's going to be back. I don't know. It's just how I feel, but he will be at the Men Tell All next week, so it will be interesting to hear what he has to say, especially when he confronts Michelle, because the final three guys will not be at the Tell All, so Rodney will be the last guy there. And if there is a second Bachelor, there's rumors there might be two. Rodney could be in the running, but then that goes against what I just said, that he won't be there, so never mind. I just don't think Rodney's going to be back on television. But justice for Rodney, a sweet guy, and if he ever opens an apple orchard, I will definitely be there. We'll all be there. We'll all be attending. But I
Let's
wanted
go.
to kind of get that out of the way because there's only 3 guys left. Mariah, who is your favorite out of the 3 guys that we have remaining?
100% Joe. I want her to end up with Joe so bad.
Really?
I mean, he is so, first of all, he's so handsome and nice to look at. But I just watch them and I feel like there is this magic between them that I don't feel she has with anyone else. I mean, I'm sure she feels differently and maybe you guys feel differently as well. And maybe it's because they share a hometown and it's like that's such a comfort to have someone that feels like home regardless of where you are. But anytime they're together, I just feel like it's magic. I am so in love with them. And I'm going to be devastated if they aren't together. Devastated. But also low key excited because
Oh.
maybe he'll be the Bachelor.
And then maybe you'll go on his season. Who knows what will happen? Joe is definitely one of the favorites this season, but I do want to talk a little bit about Brandon because he actually had the first hometown of the week, and he took Michelle to a dark warehouse, which ended up being an indoor skate park. Brandon's very smitten by Michelle, and Michelle even seems to be super giddy and comfortable with Brandon. I am putting him in my top 2. I think that they are really hitting it off. Gianna, what did you think of his date with Michelle? Do you think that they could possibly be a forever match?
I mean, yeah, I feel like I love the fact that Michelle was down to skateboard, like she was down to try it. Because, a lot of women that don't like do sports or anything, they are like, get me away from that. I'm not trying it type of thing. So I just love the fact that she was comfortable enough with him to go ahead and challenge herself and try it. And like, that's why I love Michelle. Like, she's like not your average woman. Like, she is so powerful and fierce and strong. But hot take for me, I think Brandon likes Michelle way more than she likes him. I just feel like her connections with the other guys are way stronger. Like Nate and Joe are like my top 2. So I just can't see Brandon taking anyone's spot in the top 2 just because, like, I don't know. It's something about their chemistry. Like, he seems like he's a kid in a candy store, and she's just kind of
Yeah.
like, like laughing along with him type of thing. So,
No, I've always thought
I
that
think,
too. I've always thought that, but then this week she was the one that initiated the "I'm falling in love with you" to Brandon, and that got him super excited. So then I was like, wait a minute, he almost seems ahead of Joe, and I'm kind of putting Joe in my third seat now, going into the final episode, which will be in a couple of weeks. So I kind of feel like Brandon might have surpassed Joe in that aspect, and Brandon was really excited to introduce Michelle to his family, especially his brother Noah, who actually postponed going into the military just to be there for Michelle. And Michelle said she really could see her family meshing with Brandon's family, that they would get along so well. So I'm putting Brandon in my top 2. Controversial take. Mariah, what are your thoughts? Because I know you love Joe. Who is going in your top 2? And what did you think of Brandon's hometown date?
I loved Brandon's hometown date. Hometown dates, like just looking at that, I think Joe and Brandon because she connected so well with the families, and I wasn't left with any red flags at all. I thought, okay, either way, like this is a people that she really meshes well with, and that her family can mesh well with, and they have things in common, and they're already bonding so much. And there just wasn't any remaining red flags afterwards. But with Nate, I felt like red flags all over the place. I was like terrified. Michelle, please don't pick him. It's going to be the biggest mistake of your life. But with Brandon, like I did love, like she shared a lot of wholesome moments with his family, and they seemed to really, really enjoy her. And it wasn't, they didn't seem really all too skeptical of her either, which is so hard to watch when it gets to hometowns when parents are just really skeptical of whoever the lead is because their kid, their heart is on the line and they are standing up against getting their heart broken possibly. But it was really refreshing to see how well they all meshed together. So looking at the hometowns alone, yeah, I definitely think Joe and Brandon are my top 2.
Okay. And Gianna, what did you think of Noah? I feel like you would love him, Brandon's brother. Would you, date him? Is he someone that you would be interested in? Because he was the star of the show for me.
I mean, yeah, why not? Like the fact that he postponed like going into the military just to be there, like that's insane to me. He
Dedication.
seems so nice. And like when I say like that I don't think Brandon and Michelle will work out, it's nothing against him at all. Like I think he's so sweet. I think his family's adorable. I think his brother's adorable. Like they are all great people. I just don't know if their chemistry is going to be strong enough to make it and end up in an engagement for these two. But yeah, I mean, the brother, if he's single, sure, why not? Like, slide in my DMs.
See, I'm just like set on Nate winning. I just really think Michelle loves him. But Gianna, could you see Brandon proposing? Is Brandon in your final two, or do you think Brandon's getting third?
I'm gonna stick to my guns. I think he's gonna get third. I really do, because Nate and Joe, like Mariah said, like the chemistry with Michelle and Joe is like out of this world. Like it's something else. But with Nate, what really struck me last night with Nate was the fact that Michelle said she was so nervous to meet his family, and that's the only person she said that to. All the other guys, she's like, oh, I guess let's do this. But with Nate, she was like tweaking. And I'm like, wow, like she's that nervous. Like that must say a lot. Or I mean, unless Nate ended up being like the first hometown and they just edited it out of order. Maybe that's
They
why
do
she said
edit it,
she was
yeah.
nervous. That's what I figured. I don't know. But yeah, again, Nate and Joe, it's my top two right there.
I can confirm to you that Nate actually was the first hometown, and that might have been why Michelle's so nervous. Reality Steve
There we
did
go.
tweet that, and then of course they put it out of order. They probably put Nate's last because it was the most dramatic, I think. But I think she was just nervous to meet Nate's family because she's so into Nate. But we'll talk about Nate in a little bit because we got to get into Joe's one-on-one date. And before we do that, I want to remind everyone we have a live Q&A at the end of today's live. So if you guys have any questions or you have any tweets, you can tweet us at Shared News. We're going to be looking over them, asking you guys questions. If it's about this season, anything in Bachelor Nation, leave those in the comments, and we cannot wait to go through them and read them. But let's move on to Joe, who is Mariah's favorite. Joe decided to take Michelle to his high school to return the favor of Michelle bringing Joe to her high school. Joe had a surprise at the end of the tour, which ended up being a prom. Joe also seems to be listening to Michelle's poems, just like Rodney. Michelle and Joe were prom king and queen. Surprising. I don't know if they had much competition. It was super sweet, though. And it almost feels like, and me and Gianna have talked about this, so I'm interested on your take, Mariah. It kind of feels like with Michelle and Joe, they keep recreating, dates from the past. It's like they've known of each other from their entire lives. They keep on doing these high school dates, these basketball dates. It almost seems like they're like living their teenage years out from each other. Do you get that, Mariah? Because that is just my theory, that Joe is just like her high school crush, even though she's like an adult now.
I definitely see that, and I do kind of have that fear that maybe that's the only ground in which they really share that connection, is that they have that in common. They're from the same hometown. They've always known of each other, and that's a unique connection that they share that she doesn't have with Nate and she doesn't have with Brandon. And so maybe that's kind of like his game plan. But I don't know, just watching this episode, like watching this date, I always root for, like, I have this dream scenario where you connect with someone that you totally overlooked back in the day from your hometown. I mean, I moved out of Oklahoma. I'm in LA now. So I think it would be such a comfort to like rediscover somebody from Oklahoma that I really overlooked and then share this really like passionate connection with. And that's what I'm seeing with her and Joe. And I don't know if you guys can see it. I totally understand, like maybe, their past is all they really have. Or maybe he's just like, I wish we could have shared these special moments together back in the day, and why not recreate them now? I mean, I would just swoon. I would just send everybody home. Everyone go home. Joe's the winner. But I mean, I'm not Michelle, so.
I get it. See, I kind of think their past is all they have. Controversial hot take. And I really feel like Michelle picking Joe would just be too safe of a choice, too convenient of a choice. She wouldn't have to leave town ever. He's right around the corner. I feel like Joe is just not bold and aggressive enough, and he's just not pursuing Michelle or being open enough about his feelings like Brandon and Nate are. And that's why I really think Joe is going to get in third place. And I want to talk about his hometown date with his family. And Gianna, I know you're going to love this. We have to talk about the Coleman men, because Hannah, Joe's sister-in-law, made it a point to share that the Coleman men like to keep their emotions under control, and they're a little quieter, especially when they're nervous. Gianna, what are your thoughts on the Coleman men?
I mean, that sister was a lot for me. Like I just knew
I
right
liked
off the bat.
her.
Like I was like, she's gonna be something. Like she's gonna have a lot to say. Not to mention she's a sister-in-law. So I'm like, honey, like you're not even blood. Like you don't like
She's
why are
not a
you going
Coleman.
off like this? She's not a Coleman. So she's like, these Coleman men, she's very type A, and I just saw it right off the bat. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's fine that she was saying the stuff about their emotions. Like it kind of makes sense. But I just wasn't a fan of her, like at all. But I also want to go back because this is bothering me really bad. Like we can't just forget the fact that Joe and Michelle exchanged DMs in the past. Like it was on episode 1, and I feel like everyone just forgot about it. And I'm like, I'm still not over it. I didn't get closure or answers about that situation whatsoever. So I'm like, were they DMing more? Did he actually ghost her? Like, why did he end up on the show? Did producers reach out to him? Like, I just don't know. So I don't know why that I'm so stuck on the DM situation still. But I agree with you, Zach. Like I feel like he's not as aggressive as the other guys. Like he's very reserved, and I feel like it's I don't know, but like they are so cute together. Look at them. So I don't know who I like better,
They
Nate or
are.
Joe, out of these two. So
But Michelle wants someone to challenge her and to bring out that side of her. Michelle is sassy. Michelle is feisty. Michelle has a huge personality, even if it's not shown on the show. If you look at her social media, there's been TikToks about her. Like, she likes to party and she likes to have fun. And I just feel like Joe is just too reserved for her. And, like, I just feel like Michelle wants a little some more push and pull. So that's why I'm just not seeing it with Joe. Mariah, do you feel like you got to understand Joe a little bit better after meeting the rest of the Coleman men? Mariah is on mute, so we cannot hear you, girl, but we still
Sorry,
want to know what you
sorry.
have to say.
Dogs were barking, and I thought I would spare everyone ringing in the ears. So I do think that we got to know more about Joe, and I agree with you. I feel like we haven't really seen him open up as much as the other guys on his one-on-one dates, or really just one-on-one time in general with Michelle. So it gave some good insight onto who he is and why he is the way he is, and I accept him for that. But I think it was good to see kind of like where he comes from, what his roots are. And Gianna, I agree. Like, I remember when we first found out about the DM situation and he gave kind of an explanation, I was like, that doesn't sound like 100% transparency. It almost sounded a little, and I hate to say this because I don't know, but it sounded a little bit like an excuse. And I was really caught up on that for a while, but he has just totally won me over. And I'm like, DMs, like what DMs? I'm just so caught on the love and the magic.
Clearly.
But maybe I'm just obsessed. I mean, I need to let it go. I need to calm down with the whole Joe thing.
No, I love it. I like that you're obsessed with someone on the show because honestly did not find an obsession with any guy on the show throughout this season. And I love obsessing over reality stars. And I was obsessed with like 4 or 5 guys from Katie's season. And there's not one guy this season did it for me. I'm sorry. Like, they're all great, but no one had my heart. Like, not one guy this season. So as long as Michelle finds her heart, that's all that matters. But I do think, Gianna, I really do think that they recruited Joe. And I know that Bachelor producers actually do that a lot. They reach out to people when they're in casting and ask people to apply because they don't want to have only guys on the show that have seen the show and that apply. They really do like a little bit of a mix of guys who have no idea what they're walking into and guys who have like probably seen a few episodes or a few seasons or have been watching for years. So they like a little bit of a mix. So I think they found Joe and like did what they did and had him come on here. And so I won't blame Joe because if someone like tells you, well, come on the show, Michelle's the Bachelorette, then he's like, oh, okay, maybe this is my love story. But it definitely is a little fishy how, he never reached out to her before. Even if he was in a dark place during that time when he ghosted her, there was still many months later because he ghosted her over a year before the show even started. So, or maybe he saw her on that season of The Bachelor and got excited. Who knows? But I wish we learned more about that. And I think the reason why we didn't learn more about it during Hometowns is because Joe's not winning. Because the final 2 is going to be Brandon and Nate. So that's just my prediction. But let's talk a little bit about Nate's hometown date because this brought up a lot of emotion. Gianna, what did you think of Nate's date during the day? It seems like they really enjoy each other, but Nate was really nervous to introduce Michelle to his family.
I just love how they're constantly doing water activities. Like their other one-on-one date was on that boat too, and they were swimming. So it's like,
Hmm.
of course, they're back in the water. They really have so much fun together. Like I think that out of all the four hometown dates, Michelle had the most fun on this one, in my opinion. And like again with Nate, like as opposed to Joe, who's more reserved. Nate's out there, like he's bubbly. She's like thriving off of his energy. I think they're on the same energy level. And like you said, Zac, like she wants to be challenged. Like I think the fact that he's on her level in like a little bit of a different way can definitely give her a challenge. But yeah, I loved seeing them have fun together, and then like them obviously kissing was just so romantic. And then that's when she revealed that she was really, really nervous to meet the family. And I was like, oh my God, like she's nervous. But yeah, I
But
think
he
that was
made
a
her
great
nervous
way to,
too.
yeah, he definitely did make her a little bit. I mean, meeting anybody's family is nerve wracking, especially when it's on a reality television show. And again, the fact that he wasn't first last night, but this date was the first one to happen and it was filmed first. So it makes sense why she said that too.
But him, like, he, like, totally almost psyched her out, too, because he does have a lot of, family problems or just family issues. They don't like to share their emotions. So I think Nate was just really nervous, which made Michelle nervous. And, Nate's mom and stepdad, who Michelle got to meet, they actually got divorced. But they still came together. They got divorced recently, but they still came together to support Nate because his stepdad has been in his life for a very long time. Nate has never said "I love you" to his stepdad, and his family does not talk about emotions. But we saw a lot of emotion last night, and even a hug, embrace. Mariah, what did you think of that moment between Nate and his stepdad? I think it was the best moment of the entire episode. It was the most emotional and fulfilling.
I completely agree. I think it was a unique kind of experience that we as an audience got to have because we haven't seen that a lot on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette before. To see family members kind of come together and share a moment that maybe they wouldn't have shared otherwise if it hadn't been for the production and being on The Bachelorette. So I thought that was really special. And to be honest, I know some of you out there are gonna like hate this because you love Nate, but I am not the biggest Nate fan. I think this was the most that I've liked him, is to see him kind of be vulnerable. And it was actually really endearing to see him try to fight back those emotions because maybe he feels he has to like be really manly and he can't like expose himself as being super vulnerable. But it was really, really endearing to watch and just kind of overall charming. So it's the most that I've liked him. I liked that we got to see kind of that deeper side of him and he shared that connection with his stepdad. I hope that we can see some more vulnerability from him. Maybe that's what I need to like warm up to him a little bit. I don't know. It's not that I
Well,
think
what
he's
has it
like.
been?
What do you mean?
What has it been throughout the season? Like throughout the season, like what have your red flags been with Nate? Why you haven't connected with him like you've connected with Joe or some of the other guys?
I just think he's been kind of shady. Like he's been involved in gossip. I don't think he's been like a villain at all, but he just strikes me as very red flaggish. I remember it was who was like the big villain who stirred everything up?
Chris S.
Chris? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It was like when they were questioning her intentions on the show and like thought she already had a little thing going with Joe. And I remember Nate kind of, I don't remember exactly, but he did something and said something and he was part of a conversation that I just didn't really like. And he showed me a couple times just a side that it just strikes me as a red flag. Maybe I'm like relating it to past relationships that I've been in and I'm like, this ex-boyfriend acted like that, red flag. But also just this hometown date where his family kind of raised a lot of flags as well, telling her that they didn't know that really he would get to that point with her. And that kind of scares me because we saw that with Blake. Let's just bring up the most recent occurrence. Like Blake was so not sure about getting engaged. And we all knew that once they ended up together, like it was not going to last because he did not want to propose to her. Like that was the entire final episode, was him not wanting to propose to her. And I feel like we're going to see that again. Like, and look what happened. So I don't know. I just don't like him. And, my mom and I talk about The Bachelor and The Bachelorette a lot, and she doesn't like him either. Okay. She also likes Joe.
Ooh.
And mom is always right.
Okay. Well, you do bring up some good points because Nate's dad or Nate's stepdad did express concerns that for Michelle that Nate might not be ready to commit. We saw this big eye roll on the stepdad's face, and there's also been a lot of social media attention surrounded by Nate not being on the show for the right reasons. A lot of people have seen him out and about in Austin, and I don't really want to believe everything we see on the internet, but as regards to Nate, there has been so many rumors throughout the entire season that he might be, having just that he has a dark past with women and just that he, has been around Austin and maybe he's flirting and he's acting like he's single, which he's allowed to go out and have a life. But if he is engaged to Michelle and there is this TV show playing, you think he'd want to keep it a little bit under control. So that makes me nervous about Nate. That's why I have red flags about him. But I feel like Nate has shown a lot of maturity throughout the season because, like you mentioned, like Chris S kind of came at him, and there has been a couple other guys that have came at him through the season, and I feel like he's handled everything pretty well with a lot of maturity. So I really do like Nate, but I'm just nervous that he's going to break Michelle's heart. Gianna, what are your overall thoughts about Nate and the date and the stepdad?
I mean, just to start off with like the rumors about Nate, I mean, rumors are rumors, right? Like we haven't seen photographic evidence, nothing has been confirmed.
True.
All these rumors are really coming from like burner accounts, but at the end of the day, like any type of rumor makes me nervous because especially if there's multiple, like, because it wasn't just one instance or one tweet with Nate, it's like been multiple things over and over from all different people. There has to be some sort of like minor truth or something or some situation that prompted the rumors. So like that's the only thing that's making me nervous. Like I know there are internet trolls that sit there and are like, what can I make up at, like what can I just pull out of the air today that's just not true? But like the fact that there's been so many instances, that definitely makes me nervous. And then the parents just made me nervous. First of all, I also have to say, yesterday I covered in a video here on Shared News. We were breaking down the trailer, and the mom said in the trailer he's never been in a relationship, and the editors totally psyched us out because she said he's never been in a relationship like this or whatever. It was like an ongoing sentence. So he's been in relationships before, and then the dad kind of confirmed that and was like, I don't really think he's ready. Like, I feel like the parents know that he's a player. Like, deep down. They know how he is with women. Like, they just know that he's never really fully committed. And they're trying to nicely tell Michelle without telling Michelle. So that's what I was making out of last night's date. And that it really makes me nervous because I loved Nate. Like, he's been my favorite. So I don't know. This is, I'll be so sad.
But why would they say that? Because Nate was telling his parents that he loves Michelle and that he wants to be with Michelle. He was like, he wouldn't have brought them, to hometowns. And I feel like at this point, it's like, if you're not in it for the long haul, you should have left before hometowns. Like, once it gets to hometowns, it gets so real that it's like, you need to leave, like, earlier if you want to stay on the show. So I kind of feel like Nate is in it, even if he has been a player in the past. Mariah, can you see Nate proposing to Michelle at the end of this, or do you think that if she picks him, they would just leave boyfriend, girlfriend?
I think he would propose, but I think he's going to break her heart. I mean,
so she's going to be single in like 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, even if they get engaged, I think he's going to break her heart. He just has heartbreaker written all over him. I'm sorry, that's so judgy, but it's how I feel.
So do you think she's going to pick him though? Like, what is your final prediction out of the 3? Who do you think she's going to pick?
Honestly, I'm going to say I think she's going to pick Nick because time and time again, we always see the Bachelorette choose the person that we're like, oh, I don't feel like he's the best for you, bestie. Like, don't choose him. And they always do, like time and time again, because that's just, I guess it's just a thing that people do. We always choose like the person that we might have a little bit of reservations about because we're like, you may destroy my entire life, but I'm going to give it a go. So I think he's probably going to be the one she walks away with. And then her heart's going to get broken. And I'm going to be like, I told you so, sis. You should have watched Shared News.
We can't have another heartbreak. Like, we literally cannot deal with this. We have had Katie, Becca, Hannah. I don't think there's been a Bachelorette that has, like, still engaged since JoJo, which was, like, 5 years ago. Like, Michelle, you got to make it work. You got to do it. Gianna, who do you think she's going to pick? Who is your favorite? Who do you want her to pick? And who do you want to be the next Bachelor if there was one out of the 3?
Well, at first I wanted her to pick Nate, but then after we just broke down that date, I don't really want her to, but I think she's going to. Um and then if I had to pick a bachelor out of these three, I would say Joe for Bachelor, and Brandon, again, love him.
For
I think he's
Paradise.
great, but he's going. He's go Paradise. Exactly. So that's where he belongs.
That's a great way to put him. Well, we'll have to see what happens. I think she's picking Nate. I think Brandon's getting second, and I think Joe's getting third. And obviously, we'll be back next week to discuss it, or not even, because next week is going to be the Men Tell All, and then the finale will be in 2 weeks. So we have to talk a little bit about the Men Tell All because we have some tea on what we can expect. We know that Tayshia is going to be at the Men Tell All, and the rumors are circulating that she will be addressing her breakup with Zac for the first time, which is big news because we know Tayshia and Zac broke up a few weeks ago, but Tayshia is the host of the show along with Caitlyn, so I believe there will be a segment in the beginning of the tell-all, which I think is great. I know a lot of people were like, no, it's not the right time and place. I mean, Michelle's men were not that interesting this season. We really want to know what's going on with Tayshia, and she works for The Bachelor, so I think it's amazing that she's going to be sitting down with Caitlyn and possibly talking a little bit about Zac and insights of why they broke up, because we are devastated about it. Mariah, how do we think that will go? Do you see Tayshia opening up and crying? Do you think she's going to give like a surface level answer because she wants to keep it private? How do you think that will play out?
I kind of think it'll be more surface level. I honestly am surprised that she's going to unpack it at all because I mean, I don't know.
It's not
I
her
feel like
choice. She works for ABC.
I know, but I feel like once you're done with your show and your season, you want to keep as much as you can private because you're like over your personal life being aired out for everyone. But you're totally right. She's under contract, and I think she's gonna have to share
She's
whatever
the
they
host.
tell her to share. Yeah. So I'm sad that
It's
she
the
is
elephant
put
in
in
the
that
room.
position. Yeah, I'm sad she's put in that position. But I think she might. I kind of think the leading cause, just going back on what she had talked about after the last time she hosted with during Katie's season, she said that it was really hard on her and Zac, just that distance and time apart, and maybe that was like one of the leading causes of them ultimately deciding that it wasn't going to work out for them. She's not going to trash talk him, so we're not going to get he is this and yada yada yada. It's going to be like very respectful in nature. And I think that if anything, it's going to maybe center around the distance and the time they spent apart, which is also going to reflect and just be sad because it's almost like a sacrifice she took so she could have this amazing job and this amazing role. So it's going to be sad. Again, I hate that she's going to be put in a position to where she has to share it with everyone on live television, but it's kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah, it does. And like I mentioned, it's the elephant in the room. I feel like this is The Bachelor and it's people want to know, and Tayshia's there. If she wasn't hosting the show, I don't think that they would bring her on just for her to talk about it. But because she's there, I think Caitlyn will ask her a couple questions. Gianna, how do you think that's going to go? I know you were a huge Tayshia and Zac fan.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't believe they're not together still. Like, it's also 'tis the season for breakups, not just in Bachelor Nation, but all of pop culture. Everyone is just splitting it left and right, and it's like, what is happening? This is the holidays. This is usually when people get together and be all cute. So
It's
like,
cuffing
just to
season.
hear about just to hear about them to break up was so heart-wrenching. I really didn't believe that she was going to be addressing it, but the fact that obviously, like we've said, she is the host, this is her job, and like it's a huge elephant in the room. I think maybe they'll use it as like a lesson type of thing, like to all the guys and whatever, something like make it more of a lesson, because Tayshia is very professional and she's very smart. Like, I can't see her breaking down and crying, or like you said, Mariah, I can't see her getting mad and like pointing fingers. So I think Caitlyn might ask her a question. Tayshia's going to answer it pretty surface level. I think she's going to be respectful and like, that's going to be that. And then, move on from it. Because, with Katie's season, the Men Tell All, they gave a whole section to Caitlyn for her engagement. So it's like, because at first I'm like, why would they bring the attention away from the men? But like, they've done it in past Men Tell Alls. So I think that it's a strong possibility, but I don't think it's going to be as dramatic as everyone might think it's going to be.
Well, I mean, they are the two hosts, Caitlyn and Tayshia. They're a huge part of the show, and they're a huge part of Bachelor Nation. So I think that it's important that we get updates on their lives as well, because they have been bachelorettes in the past. And I don't know if they're still going to be bachelorette hosts in the future. We don't know what will happen. We know Jesse Palmer will be hosting Clayton's season, and then I guess time will tell if Jesse Palmer will continue to host other Bachelor seasons. But this could be the last tell-all for Tayshia and Caitlyn. Maybe they were just fill-ins, so we're gonna have to kind of keep tabs on that as well. And I did find it interesting how they didn't show us any footage last night of the Men Tell All. Instead, they showed us Clayton's preview for Clayton's new season of The Bachelor, and I don't know if they're still trying to figure out like what they're gonna show with Tayshia, like with the preview. Maybe they didn't want to show her, or they just I just don't know why they didn't want to reveal the preview for Men Tell All, because that is the juiciest part, and we want to know what's going to go down. And I've also heard that Will and Peter are expected to go at it again, and they're going to confront each other. We know Jamie is coming back, and Clayton will most likely have his first sit down as the new host of The Bachelor. So there is exciting things to look forward to on next week's Men Tell All. Mariah, what are you most looking forward to next week, other than Tayshia, in regards to the guys and the drama? What do you hope to see hashed out, or just who do you think will get a hot seat?
I think Jamie is definitely going to get a hot seat. I could not stand Jamie. He I have never felt so connected to he had a couple episodes because I was just like, let me at him. What's his Instagram? I'm going to DM him and let him know what I thought about everything that he did, everything that he said. I just really did not like him. So I hope he gets put in the hot seat just because I want to see him get grilled. And I also am curious to see what he says with a live audience. And I don't know, I just feel like he was the biggest phony. So I'm mainly interested in seeing him. And then I also I know like we said, or like you said, Zac, Rodney is going to be the last one to join the group. And I think it's always interesting to me to see that last contestant, or yeah, I guess you can call them contestant, kind of have their moment with the lead and find out what was it for you that told you that this wasn't going to work out, and I think that's going to be really interesting to play out as well. And that might make us all feel a little bit better about what happened to Rodney, because it seems like Michelle and him, I bet they still have a really solid relationship and foundation for friendship. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Michelle tell a couple of guys off. We see it every year. There's been a few guys who've been really disrespectful to her, so I'm excited, to see her put them in their place now that she's watched all the episodes back. We do want to open it up to you guys, the listeners. If you guys have any questions, any comments, any opinions, let it all out. Now is the time. We're going to start reading some of our viewer questions and going over some tweets. So make sure you guys follow us over at Shared News on Twitter. We live tweet every single Tuesday night, so feel free to tweet us or just ask us some fun questions, because there is so much in Bachelor Nation. It truly never, ever stops. So while we're doing that, Gianna, I have a fun question. What did you think of Katie Thurston's 12 Days of Messy? That was a huge topic of conversation in Bachelor Nation the past couple of weeks.
I thought that it was such a pick me move, to be honest with you. If it were right after her season, it would have been funny, because it's okay, her season just ended. We know that she's on good terms with all these guys because we just saw her face them again. But it's so late. Your season was months and months ago, Katie. No, and she was moved on in a relationship too with John. Is that his name? Not to mention,
John, yeah.
While she was doing the 12 Days of Messy. So it's I don't know. I thought it was a thirsty move, to be honest with you. That's my opinion.
A thirsty move for Katie Thurston. I don't know. I'm happy she's with John. But we have our first tweet here from Liz. She says, Brandon acts like a giddy child. He's sweet, but I wouldn't want to argue with him. LOL, hashtag the Bachelorette. Ooh, that is a hot take, because I probably would want to argue with Brandon the most, because I feel like I could win that argument. I would not want to argue with Nate. Mariah, what are your reactions to this tweet?
I kind of agree. I think he's so sweet, and you would never want to say anything that could possibly upset him, or just ever see him upset in general. So Liz, if that's where you're coming from, I totally agree. I think why I don't take him as seriously for a potential forever partner for Michelle is he just seems like a baby to me. How old is this man? I honestly don't know how old
He
he is.
just turned 28. I think he's a year younger than Michelle,
Oh,
but he looks 22. He
What?
really
he
does
looks
look
like a
22.
baby. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're only a year apart. And I don't know, Michelle just seems very like professional and like she has her like teaching and like she just has her life together and I just feel like Brandon just has a few more years to kind of live. I'm surprised they didn't get any older guys on this season. Michelle's only 29, so older. I mean, they could have had more guys in their 30s. It seems like most of the guys this season were like in their mid to late 20s. So it would I don't
Mhm.
know. I just feel like if Michelle ends up single from like all these guys or it doesn't last, like it's Bachelor casting's fault. They could have found more mature and like professional men in their 30s or even 40s because I just feel like I see Michelle with like an older guy in the long haul. How does that sit with you, Gianna?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we only had that one older gentleman. I'm forgetting his name, but Zach, we talked about him before, and you were like, "Who is this man?" And I was like, "Well, remember when Pizza Pete and whoever else were arguing, and then the
Will,
older guy was like, 'This is just so funny. Like I'm just watching them argue like kids.'" I
maybe
forget how old he
Casey.
was, but I think he was older, but I agree with you. Like it would be nice to see some more mature men. I feel like we had a lot of very immature men this season. And Brandon does remind me of a kid. I thought he was our age, like truly. So I agree with everything and everyone.
Period. Abby says, I'm just watching last night's Bachelorette when Nate Stepsed said, "You'll be better than me." I loved that moment. Like, that was honestly the moment. I forgot to bring it up when we were talking about Nate's date, but like, that was just it. Like, that was literally everything Nate probably ever wanted and more. And it made my heart melt. But do we really believe him, Mariah? Do we really think he will be better than his stepdad?
I don't know. Maybe, I mean, you always hear, stories about how you look up to family members and you kind of learn from their mistakes. So maybe he is going to. And maybe, he means it when he says, like, he really is falling in love with her. And because I feel like he was trying to reassure them, like, no, I am really in this. This is different this time. And maybe he meant it. You guys have heard it this entire live. I just don't have the most faith in him. But I hope that that is the case and that he has learned from those mistakes and he really is ready to be like the rock that Michelle needs.
Yeah, and I think he will step up too if when he's like ready to get married and stuff. And hopefully he is. Even if him and Michelle don't get engaged, maybe they could take, a couple years and see what happens. Gianna, what is Sheila saying? Sheila Love.
Sheila Love is saying, don't forget, Clayton referred to Nate as a player, and his stepdad said he's not ready for a proposal and or marriage. So others do not see Nate in a committed relationship. Good luck to Michelle. Whoa, yeah,
Burn.
we I think forgot about this moment where Clayton did say something about Nate being a player, and I also believe that there was a clip that was cut of a potential argument between Clayton and I believe it was Nate,
Yeah,
and
it was
Clayton called
cut.
him
It was cut.
an actor. So I'm like, what happened that we didn't see? Like, were they, did they cut that fight out because they're editing Nate to make people like me believe, like, oh my God, he's so cute, he's so nice, what a gentleman. And then, like, boom, we're gonna get a heartbreak at the very end. Like, are they just manipulating us? Like, what is happening? But I think this user is so right when they say that others are also not seeing Nate in a committed relationship. So I hope she ends up picking Joe. I really do. I hope she follows her gut. I hope her gut's telling her Joe because yeah, Nate, I'm not seeing it now. I was team Nate and now I'm not. This live changed me.
This live change. Well, maybe they didn't want us to take sides between Clayton and Nate because if Nate ends up winning and then Clayton's the Bachelor, they didn't want to divide us. But then it's like, why put the trailer in? They can't do that. Like, you can't give us a teaser and then not put it in the episode. Like, it's not fair and it's wrong and it's upsetting to everybody and it's just not okay. So they should have showed out that scene so we could have took sides. It would have gave them more attention, which clearly they need because most people forgetting Clayton's name. So I don't know, but Mariah, what's good? What is what's good saying? I don't know if you're gonna like
Honestly,
this.
I already hate this because I already read it and I'm like, what? Okay, what's good?
What's
Tweeted.
good?
Honestly, Joe is so boring to me. Like, I don't know how Michelle does it. I don't know. I mean,
Boom.
I guess he's not the most like lively person, but actually, no, scratch that. I look at their time together and I think, wow, I would have such a nice time. Maybe I'm just like envisioning myself on these dates. I don't know. But I think he seems like a really good time to me. I mean, I guess, yeah, in comparison to like someone like Nate, like Gianna touched on earlier, he does have a lot of energy and he does match Michelle's energy. So in comparison, yeah, I guess Joe does seem kind of like boring and not quite as high of energy, but whatever. I love him. I don't care what you say.
I mean, what's good, what's not good, because Mariah did not like that. So we all have our difference of opinions. I'm sure Joe is a great guy. He goes on hikes a lot in Minnesota. I follow him on Instagram. Julia says, Clayton, I'm so broken me. Hashtag the Bachelorette. I think Julia with a G might be talking about Clayton crying when he was devastated that he got sent home, or maybe something with his trailer.
I think the trailer.
Clayton is, yeah, Clayton is a little bit of a drama king, and I think that's why he was chosen to be the Bachelor, because they know that they can get that heart and emotion, and it's fun when the guy breaks down. So, Gianna, what do you think about this?
Um, I don't agree with the meme that goes along with this because I felt really sad. Like I don't think he is a drama king. I think that he was also reserved on Michelle's season, and that's why we were all like, "Who's Clayton? We don't know Clayton. Like we know nothing about him." So for him to cry, and again, I said this earlier in the live, like he said that he hadn't cried in like years before Michelle sent him home, and like he got those letters from the kids. So it's like the fact that he's crying shows like how hurt he is. I think he's a genuine guy. I don't think he's that dramatic that he's just shedding tears every 2 seconds. But I get it. I get what this user's saying, like with the Sam Jersey Shore meme. We hear this all the time from our leads in the trailers, like right when their season's about to air. Like they slam a door, they're like, I'm done. I'm so broken. We always see them have those moments. So I guess I understand this meme a little better.
It wouldn't be a season of The Bachelor if there wasn't at least one breakdown or two, especially from the lead. Reality Steph says, Rodney for Bachelor. He's Bachelor material. Apple of my eye. Hashtag The Bachelorette. Yeah, we have a lot of love for Rodney. Unfortunately, he did not get the role. The role went to Clayton, but he still is the apple of his eye. And I think that, there's going to be a lot of apples in his future. Mariah, I mean, closing thoughts out for Rodney. I mean, we talked about him earlier, but, the fans love him. The viewers love Rodney.
What's not to love? Honestly, there's so much to love when it comes to Rodney. You and I have different opinions in this. I think he is going to go on Bachelor in Paradise because I think he is looking for true love, and he didn't get to find that on Michelle's season. It didn't work out, and I think he's still hopeful. He strikes me very much as a hopeless romantic. So, I mean, no, he doesn't strike me as a guy who just wants his 15 minutes on TV, but I think he would go on Bachelor in Paradise for the shot at love again because listen, Bachelor in Paradise, I don't know like how different that system is, but it works. It works way more than The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. I mean, those couples seem to last more in comparison than the couples that last in Bachelor and Bachelorette. So I'm hoping that Rodney does go on Bachelor in Paradise. His intro, I don't know. He's like a huge, muscly guy. Yeah. Oh, you know what? You're so right. I was thinking like he's gonna do something like
he's gonna come in
flex,
with an apple.
but maybe he'll like put an apple in his bicep and squish it, and then it's both. He's flexing his physique, and there's apples kind of in the mix. I don't know. Maybe I went a little far with that one.
Bobbing for apples would be a good idea too. I don't know why I keep thinking of them in Snow White, the evil queen. She has like an evil apple, and Rodney needs to get one of those too for people that want to come for him. Gianna, what is Day saying?
Day is saying Michelle definitely has a type. LOL. Hashtag the Bachelorette. I mean, yeah, it's funny to me because when I look at this photo, like Brandon like doesn't fit that type to a T. Like her type is Nate and Joe, like these tall, kind of bald-ish, like handsome men. Like but yeah, you could tell that she has a type. Like they all look similar, in a sense. But Brandon doesn't look like these two. Like Nate and Joe look similar, but they look different as well. But yeah, she totally has a type. It's not like these guys are like strikingly different looking like we've seen in the past with, the bottom three, bottom four. They are all looking quite similar. So, I mean, I have a type. There's nothing wrong with that. All my guys would look the exact
It's
same.
her
I'm
type.
telling you.
It's definitely her type, and she needs a tall guy. Michelle is one of the tallest bachelorettes we've ever had. So, I mean, I wish her all the luck. The next 2 weeks are going to be super dramatic, and then we'll have a couple weeks to enjoy the holidays before Clayton's season of The Bachelor. So that is everything we have to share with you guys on today's live. So make sure to let us know what you think will happen at the Men Tell All and The Bachelorette next week and the week after. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, joined by the lovely Gianna Gravelisi and Mariah Davis. Before you guys go, make sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you never miss out on any future videos. And we will catch you guys next time with more Bachelorette tea. See you later.